Hey scholars, welcome to chapter 5.2, How Can Natural Selection Reduce Competition Between Species? So we talked about that competitive exclusion principle where, no two species can occupy the same niche. Well, this is natural selection's way of how to reduce that competition between the species, and we're going to look at how they do that. One of the ways that species evolve, they evolve ways of sharing the resource. That's one of the ways that they avoid that competitive exclusion principle. And this is called resource partitioning. Very good vocabulary words to write down, just like competitive exclusion principle was. It happens to do with reducing niche overlap. What I mean by this is that the resources that they're trying to go after, the two species, are literally shared in different ways. They're used different ways, they maybe use them at different times of the year, different times of the day. Which allows both species of organisms to still feed and use the resource, or they literally use different resource in different places of that resource or different ways. And so we're going to look at a couple examples of this. But we look at this niche overlap as basically that danger of the competitive exclusion principle. If they have a lot of overlap, one of those species is probably going to get outcompeted, or they're not going to survive, at least in that ecosystem. So in order to reduce that niche overlap, we have this deal called resource partitioning. And so this is the number of individuals, obviously species 1, species 2, this is a region of niche overlap, which is kind of substantial. This would be an example of resource partitioning, where species 1 is using that resource, so is species 2, just in different ways. And that's what we're going to look at today. So our prime example that the book is the warblers. This gives you a couple different types: the Blackburnian warbler, the black-throated green warbler, the Cape May warbler, the bay-breasted warbler, and the yellow-rumped warbler. Now, if you notice that they're all living on the same species of tree, but they're living on different areas of the tree. So in this case, this one's living at the top of the tree, kind of on the outsides and at the top. This one is living kind of in the middle of the tree, maybe even inside of the tree. This is living at the tip top, okay, of the tree. And that could be at different times of the year for nesting. This one's living at kind of like the middle area, and again, could be different times of year that they're nesting for the bay-breasted and the black-throated. And then the yellow-rumped is living at the bottom of the tree. So they actually they're literally using the tree as a nesting home or a housing development in different areas of the tree. And that's allowing those organisms to survive because they're still using the resource, just in different ways, maybe at different times. This is called specialist species. These are honey creepers. They obviously all had a common ancestor, so they don't know which one, but it's an unknown finch ancestor. And obviously they have live in the same exact habitat. So same exact habitat, but they're feeding off of different things. So obviously the Maui parrotbill maybe eats on nuts because of the shape of the beak, or obviously the greater koa finch, maybe bigger fruit or seed eaters, which are the strong ones. This is definitely probably a fruit eater. These ones are looking at insects or definitely nectar. Obviously, it's probably trying to get into the center of the flower. Same thing with some of these longer shaped beaks. So they've actually lived in the same exact habitat, but are feeding on different things and have adapted their beaks over thousands of years through evolution and natural selection to feed on different things and able to survive in the same habitat. So that was a quick section, but that ends chapter 5.2. See you next time.